Sandra, welcome to another episode of Asexualized, my asexual life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my own asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the great big subscribe button down below, right here, right now. Please hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live right now or post a new video. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as we're going along if you're enjoying the content. If you don't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of this beautiful book, Asexual Perspectives, 47 asexual real life stories, love, life and sex, a celebration of asexual diversity, which can be found on Amazon. The links are below. I'm also the founder of asexualise.com and the founder of Asexualise Academy. Well, welcome to tonight's episode, and tonight we're talking about why do some asexuals feel lonely and other asexuals don't, which is a very, very interesting question. And what sparked this particular video episode off is the fact that I invited someone to my next asexual meetup, which is on the 27th of October for my best asexual friend's birthday. And so far there's 5 of us going, and we're having a Chinese meal, a beautiful restaurant that some of us have been to before. The food is really delicious. The staff are really welcoming, friendly. It's quite a peaceful place, quite tranquil place. It's not overcrowded. It's just really, really nice. I think lots of asexuals enjoy both the food and the atmosphere, you know, because especially if asexuals are introverted, like a lot of asexuals are, you want somewhere that's relaxed in nice surroundings. So we're going for this asexual Chinese meal. I say asexual Chinese meal, but it's a Chinese meal, but it's an asexual meetup. And I'm not sure that the meal is actually asexual, but I guess it is if it isn't having sex or sexually attracted. That's weird. Anyway, I go back to tonight's main episode, which is, why are some asexuals lonely and some aren't? Going on to carry on talking about this asexual meetup meal. I tend to go on various asexual sites and I invite asexuals to my meetup. I try to look for people who I see in their profile are looking to meet other asexuals, are looking to connect with other asexuals, and there's quite a need there in their profile, you know. And you know, if someone's put something like, I really would love to connect with other asexuals and stuff like that, I tend to think those are the type of people that would love to come to a meetup, even though I might be miles away from them, because I have people coming to my meetups. This particular one's a national one, so anyone in the UK can come. Anyone can come to any of my meets. But obviously, you know, local ones are organised differently. This one's way in advance, you know. People who come from far away, they need advance notification. Do you know what I mean? So this one's already been planned for a good couple of weeks now, and there's still a month to go. So basically, I saw this guy on one of the asexual sites. I'm not going to reveal too much because it wouldn't be fair to them. But I just noticed that I think they wanted to be able to connect with more asexuals, and I thought the meetup would be an absolutely fantastic way of doing that. And they're not too far away. They're further than some other people would be, but they're still, you know, well, they are quite far away, but they could come for the day or might have to stay the night before, you know. And I just thought they might enjoy it, and so I reached out to them and I got this beautiful email back saying they'd actually bought my book, which, wow, I was really, really stoked about, you know. I thought that's just beautiful, as it's the first time I approached them and they don't really know me. I just thought that was lovely, and they're finding it very useful to be able to relate to the stories in the book, which is fantastic. And they were saying throughout their email, which I'm not going to go into because it's not fair, but it's just they feel like when they talk to other people about asexuality, you know, the people that are not asexual, they kind of feel like the door's shut. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't think it's fair to reveal anything else, because obviously it's private conversation. But you know, and I think that's why some other asexuals do feel lonely, because we feel like the door has been shut on us. The door's closed, like everyone else is entitled to their sexuality, whereas we're not entitled to our own, because we're not attracted to anyone sexually. So it's like we don't exist and we're invisible, which simply It's not true, but that's the way it feels to some of us, you know? And I just want to say and clarify to you that your asexuality is just as much a sexual orientation that's valid as any other sexual orientation out there. And even if you feel like the door has been slammed shut for you by sexual people, I can tell you now there are some sexual people that do accept people for their asexuality, that do accept a different mindset, a different way of being, that do accept people can be different sexual orientations, and that when you say you're asexual, they accept that about you. I have people who I know who are sexual who accept me, or they at least seem to accept me. But the thing is you've got to not worry about what other people think of you. And this is a main factor of why some people feel lonely and others don't. I mean, obviously, a big factor if you feel lonely as an asexual is that you can't find any other asexuals. You can't connect to other asexuals. You don't know any other asexuals. And obviously that can be very isolating if you've got no other asexuals to talk to, no other asexuals to hang around with, no other asexuals to be with. And I would highly recommend that obviously you connect with as many asexuals online as possible, but you also always try and attend an asexual meetup in person, because there is no better way of having backwards and forwards flowing conversations for making you feel alive and happy as an asexual. There's no better way, even if you have to travel miles and miles and miles. You know, this meetup I'm having on the 27th of October is my best asexual friends' pre-birthday celebration. So it's like their birthday before their birthday celebration. It's a group celebration because me and them are going out separately on our own on the Monday. And a lot of people tend to work or be busier on Mondays, yeah? So we're having it as group meet up on the Sunday. And they are travelling, I think it's about 188 miles. They live in Hertfordshire and I live in Exeter. So, you know, it's worth going miles and miles and miles and miles traveling to meet other asexuals in person, because it helps you to feel not so lonely. Because when you're in person, you can have backwards and forwards flowing conversations. Obviously, if you can't get out, if you're disabled or you're just bound to where you are because you can't afford to go traveling anywhere, you know, there's always things like video chat as well as phone chat. You know, what happened to traditional being on the phone talking? You know, if the person's in the same country, you can talk to them, right? If you've got an allowance on your phone, by phone, or, you know, Facebook Messenger. There's other platforms. I don't use WhatsApp, but there's WhatsApp and other things that you can use, internet platforms, to have free phone conversations. You know, Skype as well, for example, video chat, or, excuse me, phone call, you know, audio calls. So a lot of asexuals that feel lonely is because they feel isolated and shut off from people like themselves and from the world at large. But if you've got people who are in your immediate circle who are asexual, who do care about you, who you can relate to, who love you for who you are, respect you for who you are, who just really get you and understand you, it can make the world of difference to you and to your whole life and perspective on it. It can make you feel glowing and happy and think, thank God, I feel so relieved that someone just gets me. Someone just understands me, even though I'm a very confident asexual person and confident in many things, you know, I'm more confident as well because of the amount of people I can relate to, you know. I mean, I just know I'm asexual, so there's no question for me about, there's no if, buts, mights, maybe. There's no questioning it. There's no having to answer to anyone, you know. And I think some asexuals that possibly not as confident as me, they feel lonely because they accept people not accepting them, right? You've got to have the attitude that it honestly doesn't matter what other people think, especially sexual people. It doesn't matter. They're of a different sexual orientation. They don't have to understand our sexual orientation, right? We'd like them to, but they don't have to understand us. You know, there's no one with a great big sledgehammer saying you have to understand us. But why it's important for them to understand us is to prevent unwanted sexual acts, unwanted sexual advances, unwanted sexual situations, and you know, to try and cut down the amount of rapes, because everyone seems to be thinking in the world, because that's what society pushes at us, is that everyone wants sex. So, no seems to not be something that enters into many people's vocabulary unless they're playing games like, oh no, I don't want it. And it simply isn't like that for asexuals. If we say no, we mean no, right? And also some sexuals, they don't want sex all the time, and certainly not by certain people. So no really does mean no, And I don't feel lonely because I have other asexuals I talk to online and in person at my asexual meetups. I have people to relate to constantly. I'm very, very strong in my asexuality. I wasn't at the beginning. I was very, very wishy-washy. If I think back to 2014 now, which is 5 years ago, 5.5 nearly, when I found it out, because around March, April time. When I look back then, I remember that I was so wishy-washy. I remember when I first discovered it and I was like, this sounds like me, really does. But I had to read about it, and it took me 3 weeks to kind of understand why I fell on the spectrum. And now it's just like second nature. It's like I've always been born to help you guys on this challenge and just talk about asexuality all the time. It's something that's very easy for me to talk about. It's very flowing. It's very natural. I mean, I've been writing more of my asexual guide to sex book tonight. I've been working on it with some of the interviewees again, which is my second book for asexuals. This one's specifically for those who are thinking about having sex for the first time ever and find it really difficult to make a decision, because all the books out there obviously are geared towards sexuals, not asexuals, apart from my asexual book, which does discuss a bit of sex. This next book is really in depth. It's literally how to have sex for asexuals, and it really shows the difference between how we think and how sexuals think about sex. It's extremely insightful. It's like a full immersive experience and going into the brains of asexuals and how we think and feel when we're having sex and leading up to it and stuff like that. It's just an incredible book. I have never ever read anything like it in my life, and I'm writing it along with the people that are being interviewed in my book. I've never seen anything like it in my life. It's going to be the most insightful guide to sex you've ever seen, even though it's kind of ironic because we're asexual, which the majority of us don't even want or like sex, but it's going to be the best book because, all these sex books, they're very glorified, aren't they? The sex books are glorified. They've got psychologists and psychiatrists and everything like that. And that's another thing that can isolate people. If you've got medical professionals that don't understand your asexuality, that don't agree with it or accept it, and, you can feel like so misunderstood and so deeply lonely. It's like, you just don't get me. And I remember all those years ago, 5 years ago, when I was sat in that counsellor's office, and I told them I just can't have sex and relationship anymore, but I love romance and kissing, but I just can't have the sex. I was nearly wetting myself when I was dating sexual guys, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And the fact she turned around and told me, well, you have to have sex in order to keep a good guy. I mean, you can imagine how I felt, can't you? I mean, my heart is sank to the floor, and it squashed it, didn't it, really? I was like, how can that be right? How can someone who doesn't like sex, doesn't want it or need it, be forcing themselves to have sex just to keep a good guy? To me, how can the guy be any good for you if you don't actually want it or need it or feel like having it? How can that be good for you? How can he be a good guy at all for you? He can't be. He just can't. And so I think when it's good there are good therapists out there are good psychologists out there that are good psychiatrists, because I've had other asexuals tell me that theirs has been good about it. But I've also known of other asexuals to say that their therapist isn't good about it, that they don't understand. They think it's some defect or some medical condition. And I'm here to tell you it's not. I've got enough experience now of 5 years, and I've got enough knowledge about myself and my own being now to fully know and understand that I am 100% asexual. Yes, I do have some grey areas of kissing, but I'm not actually a grey asexual by the textbook terms. I don't experience sexual attraction whatsoever. But some of my behaviour can be sexual sometimes if I'm kissing. The rest of the time, majority of the time, I'd say no. But there are even some things. Sometimes I talk about sex stuff and laugh about it because it has no effect on me, no bearing on my life anymore. It's just like I'm watching it pass by me, like a window screen. And I just wanted to reach out and say the difference, and I think the asexuals that aren't lonely are the ones that do make friends online with other asexuals, that do go to in-person asexual meetups, because they have people who relate to them and who have friends who are not asexual, but who understand them, accept them for who they are, and love them for who they are. Asexuals need validation just as much as anyone else, and we need acceptance and understanding. It's like human needs that we need for ourselves. And if we're not being understood, if we're not feeling like our orientation or ourselves is valid, if we're feeling like we have to justify ourselves all the time and we're scrambling around to do that, it's a very lonely existence. So I would urge you not to ever justify your asexuality. You can say you're asexual, and you should, but never justify it, because people who you are justifying it to will always see that as a weakness. It'll see like how can I put it? When you're in it's a cartoon and someone jumps in a hole and the hole's like swallowing and eating you up. This is like what it's like if you're trying to validate your asexuality, if you're wanting someone to validate you. If they're not going to validate you, you're going to go into that hole and you're going to sink, and you're going to have all the soil pile on top of you till you can't go, because everyone has just overtaken you and controlled you and pushed you down and told you what you are. You don't want that. You want to be a beautiful flower, shining and blossoming, saying, hey, I'm asexual. And if people go, oh, well, I don't agree with you, you just say to them, it's not about agreeing with me. I am asexual. It's my sexual orientation. It's not negotiable. They'll be like, huh? Like, it's not negotiable. I'm just telling you. I just thought you'd like to know, giving you some information, but it's okay if you don't want to know. Have a nice day, and you should be blossoming, flowering and loving yourself and not caring what other people think. And I do urge you, though, to connect with other asexuals online. Some people, they're quite scared of connecting with other people they don't know. But, if you connect with people online first, it's less scary, because you can block the person if they turn out to be wrong for you. You can switch off of them. If you're Skyping someone or video chatting, you can cut the call short if you need to. It's a safer environment to do that first before meeting other asexuals. Not that I think there's anything wrong with meeting other asexuals, particularly not in group. If you're meeting someone one-to-one, always meet them in a public place if you don't know them, regardless of whether they say they're asexual or not. Oh, hi, my life. Holla. So regardless of whether that, regardless of what they think, regardless of what other people think, you need to carry on being beautiful in and of your own right. And you do need to try and make a huge effort to connect with other asexuals, because once you've got people to relate to, then you won't feel so lonely. And if you're isolated where you live, or if you can't make friends easily, or if you've got loads of time on your hands, then fill that with trying to make friends online with people. But make sure you're filling your cup up. What I mean by that is, ask yourself, are you a lonely asexual? If you are a lonely asexual, if it's because of your asexuality, or if it's because you would feel lonely with or without your asexuality. Your asexuality has nothing to do with it. So some asexuals, they're lonely because their life is a lonely one, regardless of their sexual orientation. Their sexual orientation might make them feel lonelier, but it's irrelevant in terms of they would still feel lonely even if they weren't asexual. And to that, I say you need to fill your cup up. You need to basically be finding out what you want to do in life, your hobbies, your interests. If you've got no hobbies or interests, find some. Go out and do a course. Go back to college. Do night school. If you've got no money, go and volunteer at a charity shop, because charity shops need volunteers for free. You've got time on your hands. You may not have money, but you can always have time on your hands. You can spend 2 hours a day or a week, if you can't manage 2 hours a day, working there. Give back. Go and do something for someone else, because you will meet people in the charity shop. You have people coming through the doors, customers. You have people that are sorting stock out. You'll have people to talk to. And a lot of the people I find that volunteer for charity shops, because I used to manage a charity shop for a brief period of time in my life, those are other people that really desperately do need to socialise. They do charity shop work because it makes them feel good, but it also gets them out of the house, and they do get to talk to their colleagues. You know, I used to recruit volunteers, so I know this from first-hand personal experience, you know. And so there's lots of things you can do. You know, if you have got money, then take a local class at your college. You can go to night school. You don't have to be doing these classes in the day if you've got work, you know. And if you really can't get to a college, if you're absolutely shattered after work, but you've got the weekends free, you can do an online course. There's loads and loads of online schools everywhere. My life, my boyfriend has a pic of me and him as his home screen. Oh, this is great. This is wonderful. Message to aces and arrows. Being ace or arrow is not a default. I think you mean a fault. Default means default is something you default to. Defect, I think you mean. Defect, because if a default is something that you automatically are. Yeah. It's like if my my default browser is Safari. So I think you meant defect or not a fault. Not a faulty. Message to ace and arrows. Being ace or arrow is not a defect or means you're faulty in any way. It's a blessing in disguise. It might be hard to see it, but you have a gift. You be yourself instead of being someone you're not. That's a very, very, very good, very, very good thing, my life. Even aces and arrows have crowns. Arrows as in aromantics or aromantics, as many people call them, have crowns. Yes, it is so true. It is so true that you definitely, being ace or arrow is not a defect. It's a blessing in disguise. I totally agree. It is a gift. I was actually having a conversation with someone on this channel in comments called Chronically Catholic, I think it is. And they were really supportive. And it was on the video about asexuality is not a sin, and they said it most definitely isn't a sin. You know, it's a gift from God. And it really, really is, you know, and that's the way you have to look at it. You know, people have different gifts, and asexuals are blessed with the gift of being able to love, live, and be happy without sex. We just have that gift. I mean, it's a blessing. It really is. I mean, how many other people do you know in the world that's happy having a sex-free life that's not asexual? And they're just all the time like unhappy because of it, you know? And we don't have that problem. We might have other problems, but we don't have that problem. Do you know what I'm saying? We don't have that to worry about. You know, as some asexuals have said, sex is a distraction. You know, you could be doing 154,000 things other than having sex. And to me, I think relationships are much better without sex. Personally, my experience of being in heterosexual relationships for nearly half my life, and even though I've not had a proper asexual relationship because I've not actually been with an asexual in person in a relationship yet, I can much say just the feeling I get from asexual love and the potential for it is incredible, like nothing I've ever experienced before in my life, because I find that in heterosexual relationships you cannot get into that deep, deep soul connection, you know? Sex is one of the main reasons people break up or divorce. Yeah, my life, it's one of the main reasons, but interestingly, it's not the main reason, according to research I've read. Miscommunication is one of the reasons, which obviously you'd need a lot of in sex anyway, proper communication. And also money. People split up over money as well, but being misunderstood. Yeah, that's why you said one of, yeah. But sex or a lack thereof, yeah. I think it's very, very sad as well when there's so many disabled people who aren't asexual, but they can't have sex. And, you know, maybe as an asexual person, you're watching this and maybe you know some disabled people that can't have sex. You know, that's a potential. If you're looking for a relationship, that's a potential that you could explore. Maybe you could be with a person who's got a disability who can't have sex. They're not asexual, but you can love them without sex. I mean, I think asexuals, you know, have got the potential to be with some disabled people that really need the love and think they can't get it because they see a world full of wanting sex and they can't provide that. I'm only talking about the disabled people that can't have sex. There's plenty of them that can't. Everyone deserves true love. Exactly. The one thing you do have to bear in mind, though, with people who are disabled who can't have sex is their mindset's very different. So just because they can't have sex doesn't mean to say they don't crave it. So you've got to be very, very careful, because some of their want and desire for sex might not be very good for you, right? Because if you've got someone who's disabled who's like really, really wanting sex and they just get frustrated and they can't have it, that could turn into an aggressive type of outcome. So just be very careful. But there are people out there, I've seen forums where impotency is quite a large as well, and it's like, there's women who's saying, I can't be with a man who's impotent, I need sex regularly, which obviously women have sex needs just as much as men do when they're sexual, which is another thing that society doesn't talk about very much. It's more emphasis is more put on guys still, I think. And so there are impotent people that still want a relationship, and you might be suitable for them. I mean, even if you're not suitable for them in a relationship, you might want to make friends more with people who can't have sex for other reasons, because they will still be able to relate to you in some way, and they might make a really good friend to you. But the reason why some asexuals feel lonely and others don't, the main reasons, is because they feel left out, isolated, that people don't understand them, and that they're invalid when they're actually valid. And it shouldn't matter what other people think, but it does matter to them. And when they're living a life like that, it will always be at the mercy of other people's. So you need to stop worrying about what other people think, even though it's hard, and live your life for you. Because you can't live your life for other people. Imagine if I lived my life through other people. Would I be sat here doing this channel now? No. Imagine if I took notice of some of the few negative people that come on this channel, especially as trolls, and decide to like bombard me with silly comments. It'd be no good, would it? I'm not going to not do this channel for you guys just because someone doesn't agree with it. There'll be people on this who love this channel and really understand this channel and know that I really understand you. There'll be other people who come on and think, if they catch a glimpse of some of my videos, some of them do talk about sex and be like, why is she talking about sex on an asexual channel? Oh, I don't want to listen to this, and switch off. But, I'm not here for every single person. I can't please every single person ever, and neither can you. And other asexuals are ones that are lonely because with or without their asexual identity, they would still be lonely because they haven't found, oh, thank you for the thumbs up, love you so much, because they haven't found their life purpose, or they haven't found purpose in everyday life. Sometimes it takes years to find your life purpose, right? The point is, you've got to make your purpose to find it then. You've got to be on a mission to hunt for it, like a fact-finding mission. And you've got to try and do different courses, learn different skills, have different experiences until you do find something you're good at. Right, okay, my life again. The day I turn 18, I'm going to tell my mum about me and my boyfriend when I get back from school that day. I didn't think I'd find love, and when I stopped looking for it and decided to just live life, I found love. Let this be a lesson to you all who's listening at the moment. I used to think I'd never find someone because I'm different in many ways, being ace as one of the differences. Yes, my life is an incredible person, and they're only 17, as you probably know, because they said when they're 18, and they're very, very experienced for their age and know a lot about life, which is why they're called My Life. I love that name, My Life. It's so empowering. And my life had been friends with a guy for 3 years, and in August, I think I'm right about this, aren't I? They got into a relationship with their best friend, or one of their best friends. Yeah, I got that right. And so and the relationship's going really well, and my life shares aspects of their relationship on here and how well it's going, and lots of romantic things. And so I think it's really good my life's on here to give us all inspiration that we can find someone who will love us without sex and for exactly who we are, not just for without sex, but for our quirkiness and our individuality and our difference, because although we're a lot of asexuals are amongst us, there's thousands of asexuals around the globe, we are all very different in our likes, wants, needs and dislikes within a relationship, and to find someone who truly accepts you for who you are and loves you for who you are and wants to be with you and puts time, attention and effort into being with you and helps you to feel loved and supported, it's just incredible. And I'm really glad my life has got this person in their life, because it is very rare and something to be treasured and held on to. And I think that's so important with all couples, is to treasure each other forever and really, really be grateful and thankful and appreciative of each other. I'm going to cry in a good way. Oh, bless you. Love you to bits. And so, you know, I think it's really, really, really important that you understand this, because I think my life and her boyfriend are going to do just great and go from strength to strength, because I can feel the love from through the screen, even by what my life writes about her boyfriend and the way it's going with him. He sounds like a very strong guy for her, who knows what he wants and who wants to please her and, you know, make her happy and stuff, and who really is into her. And I think that's really very important. I'm calling you a her now. I'm sorry if that's wrong, because I know you said you're not identifying as trans anymore, so I'm not sure if you're he or they or them or a her or she now. But anyway, my life, it's okay. So, you know, I just, you know, I just think it's incredible. And I do think there's some asexuals, a few asexuals, that have opportunities of love in front of them, just for whatever reason they can't actually. Oh, you're still gender fluid. Okay, that's great. So yeah, I think it's just incredible if you find that special person. I think the people who find that special someone, who recognize it, who put time, energy, and effort into it, and realize that getting into a relationship is the easy part, but maintaining and sustaining it and feeling good and positive in it requires constant communication, time, energy, and effort, then and you're willing to put that in, then I think it's going to be successful, you know. And obviously, it's hard if you are an asexual who's split up with someone. That's another reason why some asexuals can be lonely. It's because they might have been with a sexual in a relationship and they've had to not be with that person anymore, because that person is wanting sex and the relationship is just up and down and rocky all the time because they don't want it, you know. And so that's another reason why some asexuals feel lonely, because they feel like they can't get a partner. But what I would say to you is, please look to find an asexual person if you really, really can't have sex, unless you are one of the very rare cases where you can find a sexual person to love you without sex, which is what my life's got. Their partner isn't asexual. So I think it's really important to know that there are a few sexuals out there that could be in a relationship with you without sex. But I think for a lot of asexuals that are struggling with that, with being in relationships with sexuals or dating sexuals, I think it's best to be honest with yourself and start looking more at asexual dating sites and be prepared to travel. A lot of asexuals seem to me to be more okay with being, I wouldn't say more okay, but they seem to be more comfortable with being, keep trying over and over again to be with sexuals that live near them, than actually branching out and traveling to be with an asexual, because it's too much energy, time, and effort, and they can't be bothered, or they don't want the to go to that lengths, you know. And you've got to not have that mindset, you know. You've got to have the mindset that stay single if being with a sexual person isn't right for you, and travel and make the time, energy, and effort. You know, you've either got to move to that person or they move to you in the end. It's as simple as that. I had a dysphoric moment when my mind sets to mostly female dysphoria starts messing with me because of what's normal. I found a way to hold my boyfriend hands, and it's sneaky. My bus driver, who I see as a friend, fatherish figure, gave me an idea. Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. It's sneaky. Why, is it under the table or something? Sneaky's very romantic anyway. I think it's very asexy, you know, it's like a asexual excitement thing to do. Do you know what I mean? I think it's very good, because I think like you can have excitement in asexual relationships, because you can, like, I think kissing in public's very naughty for asexuals to do in comparison of naughty things, if you want to call it naughty. I don't think it's naughty really. I think it's something natural and great. But you know what I mean? If I'm sitting on a guy's lap, which I haven't got a guy's lap to sit on because I'm single, but and I don't really want to do that unless I'm in a relationship. Then that's quite naughty to me. That's as naughty as I mostly get in that type of arena. Well, obviously I do, yeah, a lot of dirty dancing type stuff, but in terms of sat on a guy's lap, that's kind of naughty for me. And I think like with sexuals, their naughtiness is obviously sex stuff. Mine's just like feeling close to a guy with his clothes on. Say I see something on his hand and he'll be like, where? And I'll take his hand and be like, right here, and then I'll hold his hand. Yeah, but he might not put his hand out for you. Oh, do you mean that he'll be looking elsewhere and then you'll hold his hand? I just get his hand and hold it. I wouldn't even worry. You're rather nervous, so I just get his hand and hold it. Or say to him, you may hold my hand. Say to him that. You may hold my hand if you want to. You can hold my hand if you want to. Tell him what you want. And then he can do that for you. Do you know what I mean? I'd be the first hand he's held. Oh, that's so cute. I love you coming on here. You make my day. That's so cute. I know some asexuals, they get a bit like upset if they see other people in relationships, but I don't. I think it's truly inspirational, and I think asexuals should be happy for other asexuals. I'm really happy for other people. Like my best friend who's not asexual, she's moving away to be with her new guy. And I was upset about the fact that I won't see her very much, but other than that, I'm really happy for her. Do you know what I mean? So long as they haven't known each other long, which was a worry, but I met him the other day and he seems fine. So yeah, good for her, isn't it? I've got my own life, so it's fine. Oh, that's beautiful, my life. I think, yeah, I mean, personally with me, I just say to the guy, you can hold my hand if you want to. Do you know what I mean? Or wait for him to do it. But if you want to do that, I think it's great. Take the initiative. Why not? Do you know what I mean? It's nice. You can stroke his hand as well while he's on the bus with you. If you're on the bus, just sit next to each other on the bus and start stroking his hand like this. Whee! I think it's so cute. Oh, you're not on the same bus. Oh, that's annoying. That's such a shame. I think that's another thing. I think a lot of asexuals feel lonely because they feel like they do want a partner or some kind of companionship, even if they don't actually want a partner. If you don't want to be in a relationship, I think a lot of asexuals do like some sort of companionship. And what I find it hard is like my parents, they've been married 50 years now, 50 I'm talking about. That's a long time, right? And they have each other. And my mum sometimes doesn't understand why I want a relationship. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, well, you've got dad. You two have been together for years. I don't have anyone in that type of way. It would be nice to cuddle someone and to kiss someone sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't cuddle and kiss my friends. And, I do believe in true love. And I do believe in finding the one that's right for you. I do believe in that. Even now, even though I haven't found the guy yet, I do believe I will find him. I don't think it's the right time for me at the moment. I think that I've got a lot of career stuff I need to sort out. At the moment, I'm quite happy being single, sorting my career out. I've got the Asexual Guide to Sex book I'm working on. I've got Asexual Meetup Mastery course I'm working on. I've still got the fibro book covered to get a printed book to cover to get done. I've done the Kindle version. So the typesetter's got back to me finally after 14 days for the actual innards, if you know what I mean. So I've got a lot going on at the moment. I've got other business stuff to do. And I've got loads of stuff going on at the moment. So, I just feel like at the moment I'm quite happy changing myself because I need to change myself. I don't think as I am. I love myself as I am, but I need to change. There's certain changes I want to make for my better, get rid of some traumatic stuff and sort through things in life. I got issues with mum too. Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, I love my parents to bits, but sometimes they don't understand why I want a relationship. They're like, I don't get it. Like, what's the hurry? What's the rush? It's like, well, I'm not rushing, am I? I've been predominantly single since 2011. That's like 8 years. Do you know what I mean? It's just really weird when sometimes this year I got into a relationship, didn't I? Quite quickly with a guy and I didn't know him very long, and then before I got with him, and then I, split up with him because he was no good for me. I won't stay with someone who's no good for me. And I think some other people don't realise, like, why did you do that? And one is because I think life's too short. Sometimes you should take risks occasionally, because why not? Because it's better than sat behind a computer screen doing nothing with your life, or being too afraid to try new things, and you can learn something from every experience. I still learned something from that. I didn't even realise I could ever kiss a British guy ever again in my life, because I'm not usually attracted to British guys. And, he's a younger British guy. So it's really good for me, that experience and that point of view. And being, he was 23, nearly 24, younger guy. And I really loved being with that age. It was the right age for me to be with in terms of like interests and shared interests and stuff, not in terms of like, well, it was specifically to him being young and he wasn't probably mature enough. I don't know. He had some mental health issues, so it's, it's not totally black and white, is it? Bless him. But so I think it's unfair to take him as an example to the entire population that's 23, 24, because I know 23 or 24-year-olds that do know what they want, but I think the majority of them probably don't. I forgot if I told you he got me a rose. He has in my boyfriend. I think you said something. Oh yeah, he got you a rose, but he couldn't give it to you. Did he give it to you in the end? I can't remember. I don't think you told me if he gave it to you. I think you said he tried to give you a rose, but he couldn't meet you in time or something to give it to you. But yeah, I think it's really sweet. He sounds adorable for you, really adorable. And I think it's really good. He gave me a new one yesterday. He's literally like something out of a movie, isn't he? Like all the romantic movies. That's what it's really annoying when some people go, well, lots of people, the majority of people go, oh, you can't have a relationship like out of the movies. It doesn't work like that. It simply isn't true. It doesn't happen. And I'm like, well, why? Because I can create movie moments for myself, like things that are straight out of a movie for me, in terms of romance and self-dating and feeling loved up with myself and life. So why on earth can't I have that in a relationship with a guy? Or am I just going to be bored out my brain with a guy because I can keep myself far more romantically interested and stimulated than any guy could? And if that's the case, well, I'll just stay single then, won't I? Do you know what I mean? But I do believe maybe you can't have the whole full romance that they tie up into an hour and a half in a movie or 2 hours, because you only don't see all the hard stuff necessarily that goes on. Although I think you do. I think you see rocky up and downs, don't you, moments? But you know what I mean? I do think you can have more of a fairy tale life. Because I think if two people are like that, you can make it work. But I mean, I know that as you grow, up, some things can change. But I think if you grow together and respect each other as well, it's wonderful. A simplistic but beautiful pink rose. Oh, with yellowish orange centre. Oh my gosh, that's lovely. He remembered I love pink roses the most, and he knows I like something simple and delicate. Well, my life, where did you find him from? He is a rare species, I tell you. He sounds like he's really listening to you. It has some white on the tips too. It sounds like he really, 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 really cherishes you. It sounds like he's really, really, really into you. And he listens to you. He sounds very, very, it sounds like he's more of a listener than a talker. And sometimes that can be good. It's a light pink. Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh, light pink rose. It's a beautiful light pink rose. Yeah, he's a very rare species. Very, very rare type of guy. You're very lucky. One of the reasons you love him. Yeah. It's very, very good, I mean, I have a lot of people appreciate me in terms of friendship and in terms of as a person, but I don't have anyone like you in my life where a guy is like besotted with you in a good way, like really focused on you. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up. Thank you so much for the thumbs up. I love you, whoever you are, and I think that's, I think asexuals shouldn't get into a relationship because they feel lonely, because obviously the title of this video is about feeling lonely. So I think asexuals should never ever get into a relationship from the point of view, I'm lonely, I want someone, need someone, because that's not going to work out. you know, because you're coming from a place of neediness, as though your life's not enough and you expect this other person to fulfill all your needs, all of them, right? And also to, you know, to boost your ego and stuff, you know, that's not a good plan. If you take my life as an example, they knew their partner who they've got now for 3 years as a friend, so it wasn't like they needed them to be in a relationship with them, because they didn't expect it to happen in that way, you know? And so that's really, you're both coming from a place of very, very deep friendship for 3 years, a very special bond that you had in the first place. And that's why it's really important, you know, if you do get into a relationship, don't come from a place of loneliness, a place of emptiness, a lack of self-worth, a lack of self-esteem, feeling unloved and uncared for. Come from a place of, I've got my own life, I'm settled in my own life, I'm happy being single, even though not everything might be happy in your life. But then if a person comes along and loves you as you are in the moment and for the foreseeable future, then it's amazing, you know? And I do think, you know, some asexuals do want companionship. I don't think there's anything wrong with that and want a relationship, in terms of that, you know, we are human, and a human basic need is connection with others. And you know, it's like, I know that I love my parents to bits, but you know, I'm an only child. I don't have any brothers or sisters. There's just me. If one day, like, I can't even say it. I don't believe in saying it like that. But if, for example, my parents, I can't even say it, right? You know what I mean, right? So if it was just me and there was no other thing, then which I can't even think about, then, you know, it's you know, it would be nice to have a romantic partner who was good for me and right for me. But it's no good if no one else was around and the partner was bad for me, because that would just be bad, you know. So God hinted to it, because when my mum found out some of my friends were boys, and I specifically mentioned my boyfriend, she was like, careful, he might try to date you or make a move on you. And I was like, he's not that kind of guy, and if I ever thought he'd date me, he'd wait till after I asked. Ah, that's nice. Yeah, he's not that kind of guy. It sounds really nice. He just seems like he really wants to please you and make you happy and care about you. I think he knows as well you have a lot of guys after you. So he's going to, like, kind of think, well, you know what I mean? I'm lucky to have her, because I know however, you know, she's my best friend, and sorry, I don't know if you call yourself they. They are my best friend, and you know, they're my best friend, and I love them to bits, you know, because you've been friends for such a long time and they want to make you happy. You don't use BAE. What does BAE mean? Or do you mean you don't use BAE? What's BAE mean? I'm confused now. But yeah, I just think it's really good. I think you've got a really good relationship there. I just think it's really wonderful. And, you know, I don't think there's anything wrong with asexuals wanting a relationship, you know, and I do understand it. I mean, I do find it hard with my parents who don't get the fact why I want a relationship. It's not like I'm desperate as in I need anyone and everyone, is it? Because it's like, if I was that desperate, I wouldn't have been predominantly single since 2011. You know, all I had was a relationship briefly this year that didn't work out. I wanted it to at the time. You know, I enjoyed it in the beginning. And then the previous year, I had one date where I was kissing a guy who wasn't asexual, and I got a chest infection for 7 weeks. So that was the end of that. That was like one person the year before. And the year before that was when I dated a heterosexual guy for 2 months. And he was a psycho. So, you know, it's like, well, it's about one person once a year. It's not like I'm going overboard, is it? Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, and to be honest, none of those people were right for me, you know? And I think if I didn't like kissing so much, probably it wouldn't be so much of a big deal to me. It's because I think I like kissing, because I only really miss kissing. I not really need a boyfriend, do you know what I mean? But I do think in terms of companionship, it's nice. It's like, you know, my parents won't be around forever and it'd be nice to have someone. But, you know, I hope that I just keep being strong and strong on my own as a single person. So I don't need anyone. I used to, I used to, and then my boyfriend told me what it actually means. BAE, pronounced Bay, thought you said it. At the time he told me we were just friends and not dating at the time. I think I'm just teared, laugh out loud. Do you mean tired? Bay, pronounced Bay. Bay over here is like somewhere that's sandy. You can't spell. I wouldn't worry. It was hilarious the other way. I mean, I don't really talk about my fibromyalgia, right, very as much on this channel. Well, I have since my book came out, but I don't usually talk about it. And you can get something called fibro fog, and the only way it usually affects me is it mixes people's names up. I know this is going off topic a bit, right? It mixes people's names up. My head can call people different names that I've known for like 3 years. When I used to be working in my old job, I used to know someone for like some of the staff for 3 years or more. And yet my head used to call them a completely different name to what they were. And sometimes I would blurt it out. Right now, I can't get upset about stuff like that because it just comes to the fibro bundle. I have to accept it, right? And I'm thinking if that's all I've got, and I'm still energetic and vibrant and happy, whereas loads of people with fibromyalgia aren't, then I'm onto a good thing. And like the other day, I went into a shop and literally all my words were completely muddled, which is what I just remembered when you said you can't spell. Like my words were completely muddled. Like I don't usually get muddled words. Apart from people's names mixing up, I don't usually get my whole words and sentences completely muddled. And everything that came out of my life, I kept muddling. I just could do nothing but laugh at myself. I just thought it was hilarious. I was laughing quite loud in the shop because I thought if I can't laugh at myself, like who can? It's just funny as anything. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I really can't speak today. And so anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap up, you know, with saying, you know, if again, just to recap what I said at the beginning of this video, if you have stayed till the end, which I'm really pleased for you to do, thank you so much. You know, if you are an asexual that does feel lonely, the main things you can do, right, is connect with other asexuals online through asexual Facebook groups, through asexual forums. Go on meetup.com because that has asexual groups you can use to meet up. Asexuality.com is an asexual dating site. People use it for social networking. Ace-book.net is another asexual dating site. You can also use it for networking. Asexuality.com is not free. It's a monthly fee. Ace-book.net is free. Asexuality.org, otherwise it's known as Avon's free. You can chat online with loads of asexuals there. And you can find, you know, other YouTubers to connect with. You're always welcome in my community. Please make sure you subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon to get notified of every time I go live like now or post a new video. You can comment on my videos and I get back to you as soon as I can. You know, go to asexual meetups. If you don't know where some is, you know, go and look on some sites. You know, Avon, asexuality.org has got something called Meetup Mart. And that's where you go to find loads of different asexual meetups. If you're not on there, you know, there's various groups you can go online. I run 5 Facebook groups, but you know, there's people on Twitter that are asexual, people on Reddit that are asexual, people who are on Instagram that are asexual. There's loads and loads of different people, you know, and you know, there's opportunities there to connect with them. So it's really, really important that you go do that, you know, and try and meet as many asexuals and possibly make a huge effort, travel miles, you know, book in advance, book accommodation, hotels, you know, make sure the organizer's a good one and they're going to turn up. They're not just some wishy-washy, oh, it might be next week and might go for a coffee with you. You don't want that. You want a proper organizer like myself who, you know, actually sets a day, time and date and sticks to it come hell or high water. Do you know what I mean? You know, I'd have to be really severely ill and almost in hospital to not run an asexual meetup or some tragedy or thing like that happen. Do you know what I mean? To not be at my own meetups, and I usually have people who can fill in for me if I'm not there. So it's really, really important you go do that. And also important is that you start self-loving, filling your own cup up, filling your own life up so you become a live version of who you are, you know, so that you get out and about and meet people, because you could be lonely irrespective of your sexuality and your sexual orientation, being asexual, you could be lonely because you're just not doing things that make you happy in life. In which case, you find out the things you like to do in life. If you like baking, bake more. If you like reading, read more. If you like going out into the countryside, go out into the countryside more. If you like meeting friends, go ring your friends up, message them for coffee, even if they're not asexual. If you are very cut off and isolated from most people, then go to meet up groups in your local community, that even if there aren't asexual groups, go and take classes at college, night school, go and do online courses or classes if you can't get there in person. There's something called udemy.com, for example, that has loads of classes that are really cheap, a lot of them. And also, you can get some courses for free online that you don't even have to pay for. You can go on YouTube channels, right? You can subscribe to a YouTube channel who specializes in your favorite hobbies or interests. Obviously, you can be part of this channel community. I'd love to have you if you haven't already subscribed, but there are other channels out there. One's for makeup, one's for baking, one's for building stuff, one's for computers, one's for website building, one's for taking the mickey and pranking people. There's tons and tons of YouTube videos on pretty much any topic you ever think of, and you can go on and comment and make friends in the comments and stuff like that. There's no end to how you can communicate and fill your cup and make you feel alive, but you must make sure you're not just relying on other people. Don't rely on other people for your happiness. Don't connect with everyone else to validate you and tell you you're wonderful and not be spending any time on your own. You need to spend quality time by yourself. Self-date, set a day on the calendar. Today I'm going to go to the cinema. Today I'm going to watch this movie. Today I'm specifically going to go out for a meal for me. I'm going to stop other appointments. I'm going to cut off the social media for 2 or 3 hours. I'm going to have a meal by myself. I'm not going to get interrupted by other people. I'm not going to get phone calls coming in saying, can you help me do this? I'm not going to take someone's message off Facebook, who's asking me something. I'm just going to cut off and spend 2 or 3 hours or more by myself, just chilling out and having fun, just relaxing, just freeing the mind. It's so important. This will help you to stop being so lonely, because loneliness doesn't just come from a lack of communication with other people or a lack of connection with other people. It also comes with a lack of love for yourself, a lack of care for yourself. And some of you don't even like yourselves. Well, that is something you need to work on. You need to work on loving yourself. You need to be writing down a list of all the good things about you, not just the bad. If you want to, I know you could probably list 1,000,001 things bad about yourself if you're not feeling very good about yourself, but you can't do that. You have to sit down and not allow yourself to say any negative things about yourself for one list, right? And literally write down everything you're good at, anything it can be. Like, I'm good at getting up and taking a shower. I'm good at making myself some food, even if I don't like it. I'm good at taking the rubbish out. I'm good at ironing my clothes. I'm good at gardening. I'm good at listening. I'm good at sewing. Anything. I'm good at reading. I'm good at writing. Whatever it is, you've got to find, what you're good at, and what you will be good at something. Believe me, you'll be good at something, and more things than you realize. And then obviously the things you don't like about yourself, you can write down, but you have to have a plan of action, what you're going to do about it. You can't just sit there saying, this is the problems with me, but I'm not going to do anything about it. Because if you don't do anything about it, no one else is going to do anything about it. You're just going to sit there being miserable year after year, day in, day out, and lonely. And I don't want that for you. You have to work on yourself to change yourself. And that's the hardest thing. But I'm telling you, when you decide to take the bull by the horns and that you are going to change your life, you are going to change yourself, you are going to consciously make a decision to do that, your life will go so much smoother and better. Because believe me, if you don't want to change yourself and you're not going to make the effort, someone else will change your life for you. You'll lose your job, or you'll lose some friend, or someone will move away, or something will happen in your life that will make you unstable and insecure. And that's because other people, you're leaving your life up to other people and the whims of other people, which whims are up and down the whole time. You don't want to be doing that. You want to be stable in of your own right. So if there's a change going to be happening, you need to make change work for you and happen for you. You need to take charge of that. No one else. And this is something no one told me years ago. When I suffered depression for years and I didn't get over that depression until 2012, it's only later in my life that I start realizing I have to take control of my life and charge of my life. I have to direct it and steer it, because if I don't, someone else is going to come along and do it for me. Now things happen in my life that are unexpected, I'm kind of a bit more prepared for them, because I'm like, I'm still doing my own thing. And like something comes along and drops in my path, it's like annoying, because it's like, oh, I feel like I'm coming to a bit of a standstill now. Like I've got to sort this out because it's immediate, pending, it's more urgent, so I've got to do it. And that can be very draining on me, you know, but it has to be done. But because I've still got my own life and other things to look forward to and make me happy, then I know that it's just temporary and that I can deal with stuff like that. And that's what I want for you. I want you to know that all this pain and upset and loneliness is you know, it's just, it can just go, but you have to work on it yourself. You can't expect anyone to do it for you and just live your life for you. It's not their life. It's not their responsibility to make you happy, you know. And life is going to be a struggle sometimes, because you can't have black and without white. You can't have yin without yang. You can't have life being bed of roses all the time without it sometimes being thorns. Life doesn't work like that, right? And you can try and make it as rosy as you possibly can, though, you know, for you. But if you're not starting off from a rosy, glowing feeling for yourself, how do you expect anyone else to provide that for you? Because you're the root cause of the issues in your life. You know, you are the root cause. It's always you, even though it's not nice thinking that sometimes, you know. I know in order to improve my life, I have to keep changing my life. I have to keep getting myself better. I have to keep changing things. I used to hate change, but now I'm getting more used to it. Now I want to change. At the moment, I really want to change, you know. I was like, I need to change. I want things to go differently for me. I want things to go better for me in other areas of my life. I think this, you know, I love this channel. I think, you know, it's growing. It's slowly but surely, you know. I'm just loving writing asexual books. There's no better feeling in the world for me than writing books for asexuals. Nothing. Apart from obviously doing this channel. But I love doing this channel so much. It comes naturally to me, you know. And there's no better feeling. Like I was writing today and you know, looking at other people's interviews, and I was just like, they're contributing to the Asexual Guide for Sex book, you know. And I was just amazed, and I just felt so incredibly grateful that all these asexuals are revealing really personal, intimate stuff to help you guys out, you know. Even if you don't want to have sex ever, I mean, you'll be so amazed by the stories in this book. You'll just be like, my God, I can relate to what's going on in their minds. My goodness, I can see where they're coming from. But like, it's just like, you know, the book is just sensational. You can completely see the contrast between the two kind of different worlds, between the asexual thinking and the sexual thinking. It's just incredible. I've never read anything like that in my life. You know, I'm so blessed to be writing it and to have other asexuals do huge contributions to the book. I mean, they deserve a lot of the credit, you know, for this book, because they have written huge parts of it. You know, it's amazing. I've never seen anything so wonderful in all my life. It's just incredible. I mean, this book's wonderful. This book's amazing. My first book. The other book's incredible. It's a very immersive feeling. Like when I read other asexual stories, as I'm, you know, going back and forwards, asking them more questions for clarification on things, as I'm reading their stories back to go in the book, I'm just like, wow, this is just amazing. You know, so many different perspectives still in that, but it's just incredible. It's just such an insightful book that you can never find anywhere else on sex, because it's just totally different, isn't it? Coming from an asexual perspective to the world at large perspective, you know? And so I really would encourage you as well to get books on asexuality. And, you know, if you can get books like my book, it does help you stop being lonely, because you can relate to it. You know, I've had other asexuals besides me who loves mine, but I've had quite a lot of asexuals say to me they could really relate to the stories in this book, real life stories, you know, and that helped them to feel not so lonely, like they were understood and that they was other people like them, and it really helped them to stop being so depressed and feeling bad about themselves. And if one book can do that, I mean, wow, I'm just bowled over, because I love writing. I'd write till the day I die, whether I get money from it or not, right? Because I just love writing. I just love helping people. I know my books will help change people's lives. There's no doubt about that. Even if some of them will probably have maybe even bigger impact when I'm gone, you know, I just know that. And so I think through books, we can connect with each other as well, because we can relate to each other, you know, and not feel so lonely. Think, God, there's someone who understands me. You know, there's someone who's been where I am. There's someone who feels what I feel. There's someone who thinks what I think. There's someone who is like who I am. And that's just amazing. So, you know, going at some books around topics, you know, asexuality and other things that interest you and light you up. You know, these are ways you can stop loneliness, you know, and help you to have less of it. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Thank you, my life as well. I had fun talking with you. Thank you to whoever has been watching this whole show the entire way through and been quietly watching me. I love you so much. I know you tune in regularly because I can see you and come up as a one viewer regularly, and I know your timing, so I know you always watch me, and I love you so very much. Thank you so much for the thumbs up. If anyone else is watching this, please give this video a thumbs up. Please share it with anyone if you think they may benefit from it, and it also raises awareness of asexuality. Don't forget to hit the great big subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon to get notified every time I go live like now or post a new video. You mean the world to me. This community means the world to me, and I love you to bits. I can ask for a better community here. I love you. I feel safe and secure in my own community on here in front of thousands of people that watch me. A lot of you watch secretly, I know that. I love you to bits. Take care, and until next time, embrace your quality and each other, and I send you a lot of love, peace and happiness always. Love you to bits. Bye. Bye.